What is criminal law? Conclusion summary tutor-marked assignment references / further readings introduction until the late 1960s. Criminologists devoted themselves to learning why lawbreakers violated the rules of society. But today, criminologists have taken a variety of approaches in explaining the causes of crime. In this unit, we shall be looking at definition of crime, elements of crime, criminology as a discipline, and the criminal law. 2.0 Objectives. At the end of this unit, you should be able to define crime, explain the element of crime, discuss criminal law, define and explain the word criminology. Main content. 3.1 What is crime? Crime is from the Latin word crimen, meaning accusation or fault. Crime has become a terrible social problem in the world. It has become almost a household word in many parts in Africa. Despite this, groups and individuals within society differ in their definition of crime. Some would equate crime with all and social behavior. Others would argue that crimes are such acts as racism, sexism, and imperialism that violate basic human rights. Similarly, some use moral rather than legal criteria to define what is or is not a crime. There are religious people who regard certain behavior as a crime if it meets their criteria for SIM 16. Sociologically, crime is a form of deviance and therefore a social problem in any society. Fuller and Myers, 1973, categorized social problem as a condition which is defined by a considerable number of persons as a deviation from social norm, rules of conduct, which they cherish. Sheila Borkin further observes that the designation of behavior as a crime, a special case of the more comprehensive category of deviance, indicates that the behavior is formally defined as illegal through the codification of laws, which are assumed to embody the societal consensus. Giddens, 1994, defines crime as non-conformist conduct that breaks a law. The emphasis is on the interconnections between conformity and deviance in different social contexts. The content of crime is culturally determined. Durkheim, 1993, defined crime within a social context. He saw crime as a social product, determined by social conditions, capable of being controlled only in social terms. Crime is therefore normal in all societies, and a society exempt from crime would necessitate a standardization of moral concepts of all individuals, which is neither possible nor desirable. Durkheim was of the opinion that crime is a normal phenomenon in the society, a natural and inevitable product of collective life and social evolution. He held that the collective conscience of a people defines what is crime. He believed that crime plays a definite role in social life. He therefore defined crime as an act which offends strong and defined state of collective conscience. Oakshire, 2008. Selin, 1938, argues that crime is a violation of culture norms, which is something beyond mere violation of law per se. He maintains that mere violation of the criminal law is an artificial criterion of criminality. According to M.C. Connell, 2004, sociological approach to crime will enable us to understand the economics, gender, education, race, religion, family life, and all other phenomena that are directly in crime. No matter which definition of crime we embrace, criminal law is tied to criminal law. Hence, crime is a violation of societal rules of behavior, as 17 interpreted and expressed by a criminal legal code created by people holding social and political power. Individuals who violate these rules are subject to sanctions by state authority, social stigma, and loss of status. According to Stephen and Peter, 2001, crime depends on law and on particular instances of action being identified and interpreted as crime. Crime also depends on crime processing agencies, conventionally the police, and therefore, the concept of crime implies existing norms or rules of conduct established through societal consensus. Codification of such rules in the form of criminal law, a deviation from the rules or violation of the laws. prescription of sanctions or punishment, establishment of agencies of formal controls, like the police force to perform regulatory functions, despite the fact that the concept of crime defies a precise definition, as already pointed out, yet some consensus now exist among criminologists that a crime must have the following features. Clifford, 1974. It must be legally forbidden. Such a crime must have some harm done to some people or external consequence. It must be an intentional act or a reckless action or inaction. There must be a criminal intent. The criminal intent must coincide with the criminal action. There must be a causal relationship between the legally forbidden act and the voluntary reaction. Elements of crime. It is a general principle of criminal law that a person may not be convicted of a crime unless the prosecution proves its element beyond reasonable doubt. Conventional legal wisdom holds that the essence of crime consists of some elements. 1. The criminal act actus reus _ 2. A culpable 18. 5. Mental state, the mens rea. 3. A concurrence of the two, legality. 6. Causations. 7. Punishment _ 1. The criminal act, actus reus. The term actus reus means guilty act. Generally, 4. Harm. A person must commit some voluntary act before he or she is subject to criminal sanction. It requires proof of an act or an omission, conduct. Usually, it must be proved that the conduct had a particular result. In murder, for example, it must be shown that the accused conduct caused the death. Where there is no actus reus, there is no crime. It includes all the elements in the definition of crime, with the exception of the mental element. An omission to act, however, may be criminal, where the person in question is required by law to do something. Child neglect laws, for example, focus on parents and child guardians who do not live up to their responsibilities for caring for their children. Schmeliger, 2004, _ threatening to act can itself be a criminal offense. Telling someone, "I am going to kill you," might result in an arrest for the offense. For example, an act of threat among the politicians in Nigeria is not left unreported. To a guilty mind, mens rea means guilty mind. It refers to the defendant's specific mental state at the time the behavior in question occurred. There are 4 levels or types of mens rea. Purposeful or intentional. 2. Knowing. 3. Reckless. 4. Negligent. Mens rea is a term which has no single meaning. Every crime has its own mens rea, which can be ascertained only by reference to its statutory definition or the case law. The justification for requiring awareness of at least the possibility of every element is that it must be presumed that every element contributes to the criminality of it. For example, an intention to cause serious bodily harm may be the mens rea of a particular murder. But some states of mind are regarded as being more culpable than others. Hence, a defendant who deliberately commits a crime should normally 19 be punished more severely than one who recklessly or negligently commits the same act. 3. Harm. A harm occurs in any crime, although not all harms are crimes. According to Okshalar, 2008, the harm may be physical or non-physical. For example, if a person is murdered or raped, harm can clearly be identified as physical. But if you threaten to beat or kill another person, whether or not the threat is carried out, immediate fear that harming to be inflicted on him or her is injurious. Also, if you write something false about a person, which lower him or her in the estimation of this, it is a harm. In some crimes, the perpetrators maintain that they are not harming anyone by doing an act or making an omission, and therefore should not be processed for crimes. Examples are victimless crimes like prostitution, gambling, drug use, etc. People involved in such crimes argue that if anyone is being hurt, it is only themselves. They fail to realize that they are causing social harm, because the family of the participants and the moral fabric of the society are jeopardized by such behavior. The public therefore suffers harm. 4. Legality. The principle of legality is concerned with the fact that behavior cannot be criminal if no law exists which defines it as such. For example, It is clearly stated in the Handbook of NIPOST Postal Service, NIPOST, that any person found stealing any postal materials will be jailed. In the same way, cheating in an examination, embezzling public funds, accepting bribes are examples of prescribed conduct under pain of punishment prescribed by written law should be dealt with accordingly. This means that the person has committed a crime from the viewpoint of legality. Criminal law must not be retroactive or ex post facto. Laws are binding only from the date of their creation or from some future date at which they are specified as taking effect. Ex post facto laws takes three forms: a. Declaring criminal an act or omission that was not illegal when it was committed.
Briefing's about to start. What the hell you boys doing?
Then there's Sergeant Pearson, a real sweetheart.
Well, you think you're special, huh?